In this video, I'm sharing my 6-step blueprint to plan 2025 and actually achieve your goals. It's early 2025. Maybe you already set your goals, but if you're watching this, I'm guessing you've struggled with sticking to them in the past. You've planned, but still haven't achieved what you wanted. Today I'm sharing my year planning protocol. I've started using and refining it in late 2022, and it's safe to say it had a major impact on my life. In the last 2 years, I've quit my 9-to-5, launched and scaled my software agency to well over 6 figures a year, and to be ranked amongst the top in our niche. And I launched my own software company, Gleb, which is already doing over 6 figures a year in recurring revenue. And this happened with zero outside investment. With that, I gained all 3 aspects of freedom: financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom. And all this business growth happened alongside having a personal life. And part of why it all became possible is careful planning. So, without further ado, let me introduce my 6-step planning blueprint. The first step is actually step 0. It's the foundation without which everything else just won't work. Before planning the year ahead, we need to take a step back and look at your life from a helicopter view. Before planning the year, we need to plan the life. And I know it may sound overwhelming, but I'll carefully explain it now. Let me introduce you to the concept of personal strategy. Almost every business has a strategy, a vision, and a plan how to achieve it. And it feels natural. Of course, a business has a plan. How else would it function and strive? Yet, almost no one thinks of a strategy for their lives, even though your life is your most important project. And any business you create is just a tool and a byproduct of that. And without strategy, you cannot achieve your goal because the goal is not set. And now when I said it, it may sound obvious, but do you have a strategy for your life? If not, stick around. It may be just the single most important thing you can do for your future success. If yes, first of all, congratulations, you're one of the very few, but you may still have a room for improvement. So, what's a personal strategy? It's a combination of 2 pillars: a vision of your ideal life in a prolonged period of time, and a plan how to make that vision a reality. Yes, that's simple. However, it may not feel that simple when you start to create one for yourself. The first part, the vision, is a very detailed picture of how your ideal life would look like in a certain period of time, for example, in 10 years from now. The second part is a plan to make that vision come true. This plan will break down the bigger vision into actionable steps, both long-term and short-term. And these actions will move you closer to that ideal life you've described in your vision. This is a big topic, and I recommend dedicating at least a few days to actually think it through. It's a document that will stay with you literally for years, and you'll just need to revisit it to remind you why are you doing what you're doing, and maybe refine and tweak it a bit year after year, but it will stick with you for many years. And sadly, I cannot dedicate this whole video to personal strategy because it's a separate, very big topic that would take literally hours to describe and detail. So if you want a more in-depth breakdown, comment below and I'll try to make a video separately on the personal strategy and do a deep dive into that. Once you've established your personal strategy, it's essential to make sure that the goals you're setting are in alignment with who you truly are. A lot of the time we might actually set the goals that are either imposed on us by an external influence or maybe based on what we think we should want, not necessarily what we actually want deep down. To make sure the plans you're writing down are actually yours, we'll do a simple exercise of aligning your plans with your subconscious. What is it and why is it important? Basically, we have 2 parts of the mind, conscious and subconscious. Conscious is what we think, what we can understand, and what we can rationalize. Subconscious part lies above it. We cannot understand it. However, that is the part that is actually running the show. We don't think of most stuff we do. Almost all of the time we operate using our subconscious. and we can think whatever we want, but if these goals are not aligned with our subconscious, we will constantly sabotage them. So here's the simple exercise. For every goal you write, and I'm assuming you wrote something in the personal strategy part, so take every goal, and for every goal you wrote, write down the core value or core values that this goal represents. For example, if one of your goals is make 30,000 per month, probably making the money is not the value itself. And the value that lies behind this goal may be security. You may feel more secure having this income. It may be freedom, because this income will allow you to make choices that you can make right now, and etc. You get the idea. You can have one or multiple of these values for each goal. Once you've done writing down these values for each goal, put them in a separate list and rank them by frequency. The most frequent should be on top, the least frequent should be on the bottom. If you have some values that are relatively similar, you can group them into larger groups. For example, for me, one of the groups was growth plus self-realization plus creativity. They are pretty similar for me, so that's why I grouped them. There is no rule how you can group them. For me, if it feels similar, I group them. So maybe I had like 20 different values, but some of them were very similar, and I niched it down to maybe 7 large groups. When your list is ready, we can start the evaluation process. How we do that? We pick the bottom 2 from the list and ask the question, if I can only have one of these and never have another, which one would you choose? The question may be a bit extreme, but it allows you to easily choose between the two and pick the most important one. If you picked the top one, all good, you are aligned, and if you picked the bottom one, just copy and paste that list, leave original on the side, and the one you are editing, move these two, swap these two between, so the bottom one will be on top of the next one. Then you pick the next pair and work your way up to the top of the list, ranking it, so your list in the end would be totally aligned with this question. You can pick any pair and the ranking would be correct. So now you have two lists. The first one was completely conscious, and this one is evaluated, aligned with your subconscious. If these two lists are alike or identical, that means it's pretty good. You are aligned, pretty aligned with your subconscious. And that means you are just more likely to achieve your goals. For me, the lists were almost identical except one. In my conscious list, I only had 2 or 3 goals related to health, energy, and this group of values. And in the subconscious list, health, of course, rose to the top of the list, made a top priority, because of course, if I'm not healthy, everything else just won't matter. So that made me think about health in my conscious goals also, and adjust them a bit to focus on that area also. But if your lists are not aligned at all, it may be the time to reassess the goals and think of the new ones that align with your values. Now that you've aligned your plans with your subconscious, it's time to shift to the present moment. Before we move to planning the 2025, the year ahead, we need to basically look at the previous year and reflect on 2024. Reflection process is key to understanding what worked, what didn't, what can be improved in the next year, and track your progress. For reflecting and planning the next year, I use for 3 years now the same framework. It's open sourced, it's called Year Compass, and I will leave the link down below in the description. You can download it for free and use it for yourself. This powerful tool consists of 2 sections. The first one is reflecting on the previous year, which in this case is 2024, and the second one is planning the year ahead. My personal recommendation is to dedicate 2 separate days for each part. 1 day for reflecting and the second day for planning. I also recommend to print out the framework and do it on paper to not distract yourself with the gadgets, and also think it through every question. And by the end of the day, you probably will be amazed of how much you've achieved, or you'll be motivated to achieve more if you think that you performed not at your highest level in the previous year. And also the printed version allows you to keep track of your progress year after year. You can keep it, you can reread it when you're filling out the next one and see like 70 or 80, maybe 100% of your goals are actually completed, the goals that you wrote a year before. So if you start now, in the next year, 2026, you will be able to read it through and see how you've done this year. With a clear reflection of 2024 in place, we can finally move to step 3 of our framework, which is actually the step 4 if you count from step 0. But step 3 is planning for 2025, planning the year ahead. As I already mentioned, for planning we use the same framework that we used in the previous step for reflecting. It is the year compass. And it is pretty self-explanatory, so I won't waste too much of your time. Just remember to dedicate one extra full day for it, separate from reflecting, for your mind to switch from thinking about the past to planning the future. Moving on to the step 4. One of my favorite books ever is Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy. The key concept of the book is that willpower is a short-term solution, and sooner or later it can and will fail you. So relying on it is not really a systematic approach to achieving the goals. So instead of depending on willpower solely, the key to achieving your goals is to build the right environment that will help you achieve your goals. There are 2 critical components to this. The first one is your physical environment, everything around you that you interact with. The goal here is to eliminate the friction to building up the positive habits that are leading you to your goals. So, for example, if we take the sport routine, you want to exercise regularly, you want to go to the gym regularly, but if your gym is located in an hour drive from your house and you need to spend 2 hours driving back and forth to the gym to train for 1 hour, and you also need to pack your bag and also shower, and the next thing you need to spend half of your day for a simple workout, probably it will be easy for you to fail and neglect this habit. And if you try to structure your exercise routine in a different manner, where let's say you do work out at home, or you move to a place where there is a gym in the building, so the whole process of going to the gym is like 2 minutes. You just dressed up for the gym, go to the elevator, come down and exercise. And there's almost zero friction. Of course, in this environment, it's easier to maintain this healthy habit of going to the gym. Another example is filming YouTube videos. If I didn't have everything here set up and I needed to always set the light, the cameras, and spend like an hour before I sit and record anything, I would probably never publish a video because it will be too time consuming. There would be a lot of friction. Now I have everything set up here permanently, so when I want to record the video, I just sit here, press record, that's it. There's little friction. The fewer obstacles you have, the easier to stay consistent. The second component is the people around you, your circle. And this is often overlooked, but this is one of the most important things that are having an effect on your success. Firstly, everyone has like a hygiene standard, bare minimum. Like, if I've done that, it's pretty okay. I could have done better, but this is also okay. And this bar, this hygiene standard might be pretty low for you as an individual. But if you get into the group, especially of high-performing people, competitive people, and everyone is competitive to one degree or another, you will need to adjust this bar. You will need to push it up because you will be uncomfortable being the last, always being the last, always being the worst performer in the group. And this will allow everyone in the group to push their bar and push that minimum hygiene standard to a higher level. And actually that minimum standard for you may become a top performer level for most people. Secondly, the group can grow much faster than an individual can. You can share experience, share valuable resources, contacts, networks, etc. You can accelerate each other and grow faster as a group than you can as an individual. Moving on to the final, fifth step of today. It is a bit of a bonus tip, but it addresses the common mistake I see people make. The mistake is choosing the wrong tools for your current stage of life. And it can be in any aspect of life, but it's easier to explain on a business example. Let's take, for example, Alex. Alex is a software engineer making pretty good money in a big tech company. But he wants more freedom, he wants even more money, he wants something that only business can give him. But Alex has no experience in business and very limited knowledge. So what he does, basically he's heard that building a startup, building another tech company is a great way to make money because startup can sell for a very high valuation. So without thinking too much and analyzing what is actually the best solution for him, he's jumping straight into building a startup. However, by choosing to build a startup, Alex doesn't realize that he's skipping the crucial step of his professional development. So if we look at the stages of professional development, basically the first stage is where you have the skill you sell for money, either by working for a company or freelancing. Then you move to a simple service-based business where you learn about business and actually earn your first money as a business owner. At this stage, you learn what is sales, what is marketing, what is management, what is product development, and you build your network, you build your knowledge base, and you actually earn a bit of capital. And when you have all this, it's easier to move to the third stage. And the chances of succeeding at this third stage, like a startup, venture business, any product of your own, where you de-risk the capital you invest into something and then expect to make a profit, the stakes are higher and the chances of success are lower. Of course, they are higher for established business owner that basically did the stage 2 and then moved to stage 3. But if you jump to this stage, you move to the higher league. The stakes are higher and you skipped the basic business part. And also, if Alex's goal is to make like 6 figures a year comfortably working for his business, startup is not the way to achieve this goal, because the probability of actually selling a startup is very, very low. The probability of failure is very, very high. And of course, you can make a lot of money if you sell that, but realistically, it may never happen. So it's better for Alex to stick to the stage 2 first, earn a bit of money with a higher probability of success. So choose tools and strategies that match your current stage. Don't rush it, don't skip stages, and build your foundation first.